very good morning, good afternoon, and a very special welcome and good evening to VU2OBR. Wonderful to see you guys on again, Saro. We've been missing you, and welcome aboard. I just want to thank the Qatar Satellite Company for allowing us the opportunity to co-share part of their satellite. We also wish to thank AMSAT DL, the whole team there under Peter, for arranging all this and conceiving the idea. Big word of thanks to Peter, DB2OS, of course. And then the AMSAT UK team did a wonderful job as well. And of course the BATC. Without their assistance, this could not have happened. We also wish to thank the numerous people behind the scenes, the French people that developed certain programs for us, software, fantastic, Christian, amongst others, and fantastic work done, and of course work done by the BATC as well. Today on our list, if I can just get the list quickly, let's just have a look-see, and hopefully I can go over to the list. There we go. Today we have to follow GW7BZY in Wales. Hello, Peter. And then to the Netherlands, Papa Alpha 3 Fox Bravo X-Ray Benno, going to tell us about his holiday plans. And then back to the UK, G8KOE Martin with a hot PA. Now, it could mean many things, of course. Could also be a private assistant. And then Frank, saw you on just now, G8PQH. I like that bit about Goodwood. Yeah, I spent a whole day at Goodwood, but at the Rolls-Royce factory when I ordered my Phantom some years back. And then we go to Frank again in South Africa. Hi, is it Frank? ZS6 Golf Echo. Nice to see you'll be on again. And also Saro, VU2OBR, whom we haven't seen for a long time. So it's fantastic to have those guys up. And if any more guys come up, please just register yourself and we'll go through the list. But with that, Peter, will you please take it, GW7BZY from ZS6 Yankee India.
Left the lights flashing there, but I am using my full processing power. They're not all in line, but at least one box is in line, although they're all flickering the lights in synchronization because the same audio goes to them all. So I've looped my audio from this microphone, which I've got now on the stand. Probably that was a part of it last time, and now it goes through the processor, optical processing. I shouldn't have said all this because I would have said, and you'll now say the audio is terrible, whereas before you would have said, oh, that's okay. But anyway, there we are. That's what I've been doing here, playing with it. Everything seems to work pretty well, so I haven't bothered with any of the working stuff. As I don't want to do a Martin KO on it and put my finger where I shouldn't. so I kind of leave it alone until it breaks. It doesn't usually. So that's about it, really. Been playing with Blender a little bit, which is always a good thing. So that's about it from this end. I'll hand it round. I don't know who's on next. I should have looked on the thing that Gary put up, but I was just panicking at the time and getting things going. But anyway, to the next person from GW7BZY. Big news flash this side as an addition is that the weather's been good. It was nice yesterday. Went down to Barmouth, or Benmore as we say in Welsh, and there was full of holidaymakers and the sun was shining and it was warm. It's been 25, 27 degrees here for the last week, so that's the big news. It stopped raining. From GW7BZY.
So, I'm sure everyone is back on 333. Peter, you accidentally was on 500 KS, KC, KS, kilo samples, which is a bit high for this channel. I see I cut my hat a little bit off. Let's see if I can quickly fine-tune my camera a little bit. Obviously the wrong direction. That's my preparation as well. It's not perfect, but it's really too hot. It's around 30 something degrees, and here in Holland humidity gets very high with those kind of temperatures, and especially at this time of year. So we just try to survive, basically, between some fans and some IC to get it a little bit cooler, and drink a lot of water and other stuff to get it through the day. But that's not a big problem. Planning for a holiday, yes, I am still. I'm probably one of the last on the air. Not gone to a holiday yet, but I have my summer holiday this week planned, next week, and next week on Saturday we're planning with the mobile home somewhere up to the north, finding some cool weather, but we are planning for Scandinavia, so we are moving around, and we are moving around slowly, every day a few hundred kilometers, and do some sightseeing and move on and move on and move on and move on. No clue where I will stop, how high I will be, but the plans are at least for Sweden. And unfortunately I found out just recently, which was not a big surprise for me, but in Sweden I'm only capable in doing 100 milliwatts on the QO-100, as I obviously will take that with me. So I don't think I will do a lot of QSOing from Sweden with my 1 meter dish. So I think, well, maybe make some QSOs on the narrowband. I don't think I'm going to bring my full set with me up to 100 watts on for the DATV. I probably end up my multi-band rig and try that one as much as possible on my 1 meter dish, and only 15 watts or something. That should be more than enough for narrowband. But I also will take my 40 meters and 80 meters FT8 with me and try something from that. all from the same rig. So that's basically my goal. And if possible, maybe work some people. Yeah, 100 milliwatts will be okay for the narrowband, you say, Mike, but I'm afraid on a 1 meter dish that's just too little, and maybe I can find some uplink station there and patch myself into the big dishes, because you need at least what is it, 2 meters or something, or bigger, for 100 milliwatts. Otherwise I will lose it already in the plugs or the cables high. But again, that's probably also the reason why you don't see much stations from SM. But I will do some activity, especially first from Germany, and the next day already in Delta, in Oscar Zulu country, and then do a few days and then take a boat up to Sweden. And the boat is only doing about 1 or 2 hours, so otherwise I would do a transmission from Maritime Mobile or something, because that would be lovely. But I think that's all an idea which is bound to strand at the idea site. Okay, well, that's all for now. Hugo, thanks for watching. Hugo is from Belgium. He just called me just before the net. Some questions. Apparently he has a problem with preamp stages, and well, I can show him quite a bit, and I wouldn't be too much a fuss of that. That shouldn't be too much problem. But I think he makes some okay. Let's okay, well, that's all for now. Passing it on to my friend Martin with a hot PA. And I hope you are meaning you have a very good PA, Martin. Otherwise, yeah, with these kind of temperatures, cooling will be an issue. The simple solution for me on that is not measure the temperature. I could do that, but I'm not doing it as it is. There's a fan on and it should work. And if I don't know the temperature, it's probably not too hot. Or it is, but at least I don't know and I don't worry about it. That's an idea for today. Don't worry about things you can't measure or you don't measure. It's probably okay until it breaks. Passing it on, Martin, from Papa Alpha 3, Foxtrot Bravo X-Ray. Let's see, do I have a test card? Yes, I have. Passing it on to you.
Yeah, okay there, Benno. Thanks for that. Make sure I got sound. I'm using the Minitune receive software, which when Peter came on running the 500, it caused me. I wonder why things weren't working. But yeah, I should say no more than that. A bit wide for that end of the band. Yeah, PA getting too hot. Yes. Yeah, not measuring the temperature is probably a good idea. But the PA's in the garage, and the garage has got a nice black roof. Yeah, the temperatures, it just was struggling. So I had this idea that the case that had got the PA in had sort of, well, the easiest way is to show you a picture of it. Let's find wrong one. We want that one. Had the sort of heatsink parts at the side and this gap in the middle, which is where I'd originally mounted the PA under this part, and I'd actually put an extra heatsink on top. So I had this, as things were getting warm, I thought, well, I'd move it across. And put it underneath the heatsink on the right hand side that we can see there. And I'll put the other heatsink I've got, and there's 3 fans on the top and 2 on the side. And I thought, so I just unbolted all, drill a couple of holes, etc., etc. Piece of cake. Shouldn't take me long. Now, this securing in this edge is a square piece of aluminium that runs from one end to the other, which is also got a piece, not there, on the bottom to hold the bottom on. So when I tried to position the board, etc., there was this ridge that I couldn't get to drill the holes that I needed to position the PA, and I had all sorts of problems with drilling crooked holes, and then thinking, well, I get away with the self-tapper, then the self-tapper shearing off, etc., etc. And what was a simple job turned out to be, it's spread over 3 days with one thing and another. It's together and it's working at the moment, and the cooling is better. Found all sorts of other little problems, some that I'd put in as I was modifying things, shall we say. Let's move on to another one. So that's what it sort of looks like now. And that's the directional coupler to monitoring some power out, gives me a guesstimated power out. And the ridge was at the bottom there, of which puts the bottom on, which stopped me from, as I said, screwing things in. But it's together and it's working. Now I had problems with the connections here. I'm not fully 100% certain that I actually measured because I was concerned that perhaps the match to the dish wasn't that good. So I stuck the VNA on the end of the Andrews cable on the connector there. And I'll show the results that I got of that in a minute. But things work better having the directional coupler in. I haven't fully, if I connect that directly to the socket on the PA, it's nowhere near as good as having the directional coupler in. But so it's the heat working in the garage just wasn't good. Anyway, that's the results. Sorry for the reflection side of things. I didn't have the laptop out there and bits and pieces, but that was the sort of things I've got. No, I don't need to keep my overs short at the moment there, Peter. I can subject you to plenty of me. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. I'll talk to you perhaps a bit more about that. But anyway, I'm aiming to put together another PA, which I've been looking for bits and pieces for it. And I've been looking for a heatsink. We'll get to the heatsink in a minute. Actually, we'll just show a picture of that's my workshop at the moment, which I got fed up with drilling non-straight holes. So we got a pillar drill at the moment, and my test setup to have a look at the PA, one of the 41s that I've got. I can play around. And PA, let's see what we've got. Let's go to the other camera. Roving one. I've just purchased another heatsink, which I got, which is this one. Which is what I'm aiming to use. Never liked the setup I did of the original PA, so that's what I'm yeah, okay then, Mike. If I removed, that was my idea of removing as many connectors as possible, but when I removed the connectors, things got worse. Which is why I connected the Andrews directly into onto the PA, and that was the worst settings I got. But I will look into it a bit further. But something's amiss. But it's working at the moment, and I haven't got to a temperature that I'm going to cut out. Let's go back to yeah, as I said, I had the Andrews and I connected that directly to the N type on the PA without the 20 dB directional coupler in line. So I removed that completely, removed that connector there, which obviously a cheap and nasty one, and got worse results than if I actually put it back in line, which surprised me. So I thought, as it was inaccurate, the measurement of the power out, probably the match of the feed then. Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, I need to look at it further, but I don't know at the moment. I haven't put the VNA on the end out of interest with the directional coupler in line. But anyway, what else? I think that's probably enough waffle from me. And yeah, I use 2C39s, and I also on 70 used a YD1270, which was like a big version. But the 2C39s, yeah, there was some lovely little designs for that, and worked surprisingly well. Anyway, I think that's probably enough of me. So it's Frank next, J8PQH, I think, with Goodwood. That's the only memories I've got. Yeah. Now I mustn't look at things like that. The next thing is rebuilding the PA. But yeah, I've got some memories of Goodwood and etc. and Boxgrove and Tangmere when it was operational. I went to the last Battle of Britain at Tangmere Aerodrome. It was on the south coast of the UK. I keep forgetting that it's a worldwide net, so I'm going to stop talking about Goodwood. But hopefully most people are aware of the Goodwood area. Right, round to there, Frank. G8PQH to take it. I'll put a test card and drop.
Hi guys, hopefully you can see and hear me. See if we've got some sound. Yeah, so turn the sound down a bit. Well, thank you, Martin. That's one hell of a PA and a cooling system you've got there. So I've got one of Bert's PE1 RKI's amplifiers, which is very nice, and I think it's a fair bit more efficient. So it's drawing about, I think, about 7 amps at 28 volts. So hopefully, because my cooling isn't anything as impressive as that,
but I have been thinking I ought to monitor the temperature and all that kind of great stuff, and I've got some bits to do that. I don't know if I can show you this, and asked for any advice here. So if I put that up, which is a Hall effect current sensor. So far in my goodie bag I've managed to get one of those, and if I can remember how to change to some other pictures, no I can't. Well, that's great. So how do you go from one picture to the next on OBS? It ought to appear, but it clearly doesn't. Well, that's not very exciting, is it? Well, surely it must go to the next picture. I don't know. Let's see what I can do. Alright, how about automatic then? That'll have to do. So anyway, yeah, I've got this marvellous picture of a Hall effect sensor, and I've got this circuit board from IV3 VCE, which is for one of these log power sensors, and the idea is to use it with an Arduino, there it is, with an Ethernet shield on. So I've got some code running on that to just read the, yeah, this is a picture of the amp again. I don't know why it's doing that, or the insides of the amp are after I blew it up and repaired it, and its spectrum. The shoulders are higher on the higher frequency side than the lower. I don't know quite why that is, but it is. And this is the amp. I don't know if I can. Oh no, it's gone back to the Hall effect sensor now. But that's enough of that. So let's put it back to the camera. So yeah, it's gone back to this circuit, but I've got a directional coupler, a bit like Martin on the output, and I've got a circulator before the directional coupler, and the circulator is getting a bit warm, so I'm wondering about the match to the antenna. Now I actually don't have a VNA that will go up to 2400 meg, so I was quite encouraged looking at the pictures. I think what you've got is a newer version of the VNA that I got some years ago, the simple low-cost ones, but I don't think the one I've got goes higher than 1 gig actually, Martin. So I'll look into that. So that's what I've been working on. I haven't got very far, but I think in the next week or so I should have it going. I did promise you I was going to send some pictures of Goodwood, which very briefly. So I was there yesterday. So let's do that. I was there yesterday, and it's basically, for those that don't know, it's a classic car racing event. But unlike a lot of racing events, you can wander around the paddocks. Hopefully you should be able to hear my audio above the background noise of the cars. Let's turn the background noise down a bit. And people are there fixing their cars up, as you can see, and trotting around in period costume looking at the cars. Yes, this is right next to Rolls-Royce's current factory. I just didn't have time to go and study the Rolls-Royces, or I'm sure they've got a nice showroom there, but there you say. Yes, so in amongst all the cars there's some racing. I think this was 1960s sort of race cars. I think this was one of the heats. So this was at Levant Corner. Yep, and the children get into the act with some pedal car racing. Didn't manage to get a video of that, but they weren't going that fast. So, and this I think was 1950s cars, and it's an enormous American car, like a 7-litre thing that racing, I suppose, Jaguars of the period, but also tiny Austins as well, Austin A35s and A40s from the 50s. Needless to say, this large American car won. It did definitely lean over going around the corners. And there's a fun fair with traction engines and steam engines and all kinds of other stuff, and really expensive old cars for sale. So that's enough of that. So somebody, I do not know, because I have lost the link to the schedule. Who V8 porn? Yeah. Anybody care to mention it in the chat, and I will hand it over to them. I'll just drink my coffee because I've entirely misplaced. I managed to have to restart my computer just before my over. And the other Frank, right, well, let's hand it over to the other Frank. This is G8 PQH with the ZS6 YI in the World Wide Net. Handing it over to Frank, ZS6 GE. So I will just drop carrier, and there you are.
Oh, yeah, I nearly made the same mistake transmitting this 500. I was playing around yesterday and forgot to reset it. Anyway, I'm the other Frank. Afternoon to everybody. I have been off the air for a while. I was on an extended family visit to Europe, and now I'm back. And let's put it this way, it was colder there than it is now here. Spring is here, 30 degrees. So good timing actually. Anyway, no major mishaps, I must say, except I have proof for Murphy's Law, because while I was away I had a leak in the roof. There is some piping in the roof, and after 30 years a joint decided to start leaking, and of course I'm not around. So the water came through the ceiling, it came through the walls, it came through a wardrobe like this one behind me. There were files in it, they're all soaking wet, most of them right off. The laminated flooring was buckling, so I had fun when I came home, only to find out that the main drain to the sewer is also blocked. So I was not impressed. Anyway, luckily the insurance was very good. They refunded me virtually immediately. The only embarrassing thing is that I was with them exactly 2 weeks and I already had a claim, whereas previously I didn't have a claim for 20 years. Hey, that's the way it goes. I have a short video of a piece of technology which I'm very impressed with. I'm sure Benno has seen it. Let me see if I can bring it up. Okay. It's a pumping station which was built in Cornwall. It's a Cornish cycle engine, the biggest in the world. Beam engine with 8 beams. They used it to drain a lake near Amsterdam and Haarlem. They had several of these stations, and it took them about 3 years to initially drain the lake. It's a museum nowadays, so they have actually connected only one of the pump cylinders. The rest is idling along. They're not using steam anymore, it's now hydraulically operated. But still, you can see the water coming up. And it stops, giving the water time to drain out, and then they pump the next cycle. That's a counterweight on top of the cylinder. And that's how the beams go down, and then the steam, no, sorry, it's the other way around actually. The steam is pushing down. Cylinder diameter 3.7 meters, no less. It's a massive thing. I often wondered how the heck did they transport it that long ago. I mean, there are many tons of metal there.
Alleen het waren veel kleinere hoeveelheden water, maar wel over een hele grote afstand. Dit is natuurlijk maar een meter of 4, 5, maar heel veel water. En het waterdeel is ook wel voor de Nederlandse ingenieurs. En het stoomdeel door Engelse ingenieurs. Dus, oké. Ja, ik moest even opschieten helaas. Ja, bovendien.
Okay, now I have to find the cursor. Right, back again. Benno, you might know, I don't know how to pronounce that name. It's a Dutch name, Latinized, like Crucius or something like that. Anyway, that's it for today from me. And I pass it on to Saro. Very nice to see you again, it has been a while. You take it from ZS6 Golf Echo.
Yeah, after a long time. A very good evening from India, all my friends. Gary, Peter, Bino, Martin, Frank, and South Africa Frank, and it's me. Maybe very less people this week, I think. But unfortunately, I am unable to join with you guys on the net regularly because there is too much heavy work and doing lot of new things. So that's why I am unable to join. And also now I want to test my setup is properly working or not. But every day I'm joining the Qatar Oscar 100 India morning net on SSP, but DATV I am not. Also my system got reinstalled again, and I am setting up one by one. I'll try to join with you guys regularly in upcoming weeks. Thank you very much, Gary, for leading the net continuously. I am really happy. So nothing from my side, just I am going to stand by now. Please go ahead, Gary. I'll be stand by now. I'll be stand by now.
Right, I just made it, I think. Hello, Saru, and Gary, and Frank, ZS6, and Frank, G8, PQH, and Martin, G8, and Benno, and Peter. Yes, sorry I'm late, and I'm just barging in here, but I waited until the end of the first round. ZS1 SCI visited me today, and he left 15 minutes before the net started. We had such a lovely chat and all sorts of things that time flew. So he said he won't make it in time to be on the net tonight. He'll come up later today and give me a call. Right. Sorry to hear about your plumbing problem there, Frank. I've had similar things at my house in Bredasdorp a couple of years ago, and it's not nice. Anyway, right, I was busy having lunch while you guys were talking, so I didn't make notes, but I'll lend a proper ear now on this over. Gary, right, just to give you some feedback. Okay, I found the right amp, little preamp here for O1, and his power amp's got 40 dBs of gain, so he's got quite a bit of gain, and that thing will be more than enough to drive him. And yeah, we talked about a lot of other things. We have so many common points, you know, in our interests that we just couldn't stop once we started. So yeah, he was here about maybe from 11:30 till 4:45. So so yeah, he had the grand tour of the caves. Okay, over to you, Gary. ZS6YI and the group from ZS1MM running on batteries. Just as the net started, we went into load shedding again.
Okay, Leon, wonderful. ZS1 Mike and the group ZS6YI returning. Well, I tell you, I'm sure the rugby fans will be the hell in with load shedding at the very moment the whistle blows to start the Scotland versus South Africa rugby match at the World Cup. Anyway, so I'm sure there will be many disgruntled people. And you might recall that I did say 4 hours or 5 hours is going to go by as quick as a flash with the two of you guys together, and I think I'm being proved right. Anyway, let's go down the list. Peter, yeah, you were on 500 kilosymbols, but I managed to quickly get the receivers onto that, so it did go out on YouTube, but we must be careful because we're not allowed so wide on the side of the band. But anyway, it was a nice signal from you, and well done on the audio. Looks very interesting, and it really sounded great, so you got nothing to worry about there. Working well, Peter. Well done. Benno, yeah, that upcoming holiday sounds very interesting. A pity about the 100 milliwatts or something from Sweden. That's why we don't hear many of these Swedish stations on, unless they got huge dishes. But it is a pity that they can't get that changed, because what will it make any difference to the world if they could go a little bit higher in power and we could enjoy watching them as well. Incidentally, on the YouTube channel, I just want to say hi to the following: Toby, DL7 Tango Juliet, Mike G0MJW, Hugo in Belgium, Ishmael, DL2 Tango, India Echo, sorry, Ishmael, DL2 India Echo, and I just see a new guy. No, I think we've got them all. But so far, 64 views on YouTube, which is not bad. Benno, coming back to you, it sounds like you're going to have a pleasant trip, and I certainly hope you have good weather and have a really enjoyable break. And we hope to hear you from time to time. Martin, yeah, the hot PA. I thought it was a personal assistant, you know, but it's the amp. No, I'm pulling your leg. I know it was the amp. I was going to tease you and say, take that lovely fan behind you and put that upstairs, but I see you've got enough fans, so there's no shortage of air dissipation. But that's a lovely heatsink you've got there, so I think that's just going to do the thing. I'd get rid of that right angle connector. It's junk, not at those frequencies. Get rid of it. And if you are having to add in things to make your signal better, then there seems to be a mismatch. So perhaps you can just play around with the final output there and see if you can match it to 50 ohms. I think that's the impedance is slightly out somewhere down the line. Hence you need to add a bit of piping in there to get things looking right. You're only really fooling yourself, but as long as it works. And then Frank, G8PQH, wonderful film on the Goodwood thing. And then I must compliment you, that construction on your amplifier, even though we saw it for a split second. We did see it, I think, last week. It's really a work of art. You're very handy and it looks great. And again, if you've got heat, then I think it's probably, your match is also probably not 100% right. And hence it's dumping energy into the 50 ohm load on the circulator. And so that's why it's getting hot. The load's saving your bacon, so to speak. But anyway, and a beautiful video on Goodwood. Yeah, I saw the Yang tank flying past. I think that could have been an old Fairlane. Yeah, they, what did the Americans believe in? Brute force and ignorance. There's no substitute for cubic inches. Now, I must say, I was, as a youngster, a Ford fanatic. And then we got our first Jags. And since then, the English vehicles have been my passion. Anyway, Frank, good for you to come back on holiday. I certainly hope you had a good time. I'm sure you could have done with one of those water pumps that you showed at your QTH in your absence. Perhaps just a bit smaller, but sorry to hear about that. And especially the files that have gone QRT. That's certainly not nice. And but a fantastic video on that pump station. You know, 3 meters. Can you imagine? I was just working out. I wonder how many billion watts of energy hasn't been used by that pump station, and also how many tons over the years, megatons. It has lifted, those pumps have lifted and displaced. It's unbelievable, and it still looks in good order. Obviously, they keep their eye on it, but it's fantastic there. Saro, what a nice surprise to see you back on. The net's just not the same net without Saro on. So please come more often, and also get our other Indian friends on. We miss them, really. We used to have a lot of fun. It used to be a truly good morning, good evening, afternoon and good evening. But anyway, I'm very, very pleased you're back with us, and that you can manage to come in from time to time. And noted on the narrowband. Yeah, I hardly ever get onto narrowband. To be honest, I'm very seldom in the shack. I'm so busy at the salt mine. We're expanding another factory, and it's a headache to keep all these things going. So, but one of these days, I suppose, I can detune a bit. But anyway, right, let's see. The next one on the list for I think the final over, we'll have one more round, will be Benno, to you, dear sir, from ZA6 Yankee, India.
Yeah, I reckon Peter is not coming back. Haven't caught that. Yeah, I reckon Peter is not coming back. Let me mute it a little bit. Well, thank you, Gary. Do I have a camera? Wait. Actually, you caught me off guard. I'm doing some metal work. Not that big a problem of what Martin was showing, and I'm doing that with a big of metal cutting pliers. Okay, well, anyway, yeah, sorry Frank for heard that you okay, you can get it directly after me, Peter, if you wish. Just let me know, and you're the next on the list. Or you got a penalty for using 500 on a 333 channel. Hi. Okay, no problem. Yeah, Frank, sorry to hear that your homecoming was a bit wet. I imagine, and it's pretty much my nightmare to come home like that. If all the water is coming from the ceilings. I really hope you get it organized and covered by insurance. But it's never good, and at least it gives you a lot of hassle to get it right. And nice images from Crucius. Yeah, Crucius. That's the town, the name of near Haarlem, and there is a lot of well, as most of you know, Holland is one of the countries lying below. A big part of the country is lying below sea level, and the Dutch always fight the water, the sea, and they made out of sea beddings or lakes or more swamps. They made new country, and that's exactly the reason for this. Big pump, and I've seen it once. I haven't actually visited, but I have seen it. I know where it is. Actually, in the early days when I was traveling Holland for my work, I was also traveling around that area, so I know exactly where it was, Frank. But as things go, you don't visit your own country. You only go on the other side of the world and then visit those kind of things. But then again, it's nice to see those kind of images. Come to think about it, I will try to make, and I actually just digged up my dash cam, and I will try to make some dash images, as my girlfriend also will make some kind of use for it. She will do some reporting for their family, and so I hope to make some dash video, which would be nice, traveling through Denmark and Sweden. And so that is basically maybe I'm capable in showing a little bit where I was, but I know these kind of things normally stand up in the idea, because I made some videos from my visit in Germany 2 weeks ago, and they are still not on my computer, they are still on my telephone, and this is how that works. So I will make some video, make some pictures, and try to make a nice report, at least capable in showing something of my journey, and hope that Gary, if you want, we catch each other. I probably end up putting my name on my activities on the chat, because it's always nice to hear some people. I'm not a special locator hunting guy like a lot of other guys, like for instance Ed is doing, but I like to be available, and while I'm there I can make some locators active, maybe. But then again, from Sweden that will be a big issue. Maybe drop over the border to Norway quickly and make some QSOs there, and then go to the other side and start from Finland, as you can make up to 600 watts from Finland and only 200 milliwatts from Sweden. That's fun. Well, at least I'm capable of using my own call sign. I don't need special call signs. I use the set or arrangement to add sugar mic to it. Okay, well, anyway, that's all for now. Have a nice day. What else to comment on? For Frank, making a nice monitoring station. I'm not sure what you're going to use. I'm not sure what your expectations or experience already is, but I still advise Node-RED, as it is versatile and it is flexible, and you can use Node-RED for a lot of things around your station, because on the same you can even make a Pluto contact, use it as a use the Raspberry as the network translation between the USB and the Ethernet, and you can also use something like a long mind client and use it for DATV reception, and you're still using only one device, hardware device, which is a Raspberry, and you don't need a Raspberry 4 for that. A Raspberry 2 or 3 is more than enough, and it will be a lot of give you a lot of flexibility in order to control whatever you want. For instance, those it doesn't has analog inputs, but it has I2I2C, and it's not a big problem to get the analog input from I2C on the Node-RED. Okay, well, that's all for now. Passing it on. Let's see if he finds the 333 button. Hi. Peter, get ready. This is PA3 Foxtrot Bravo X-ray signing off and clear, and hope to see you maybe this week and otherwise in about a month or so. One quick question. Anyone has heard from Tom? I missed Tom over the last 2 months, and I got not know any sign of life from him. I hope he's well. From Papa Alpha 3 Foxtrot Bravo X-ray, and Saro, I will send you another text on WhatsApp about this second TS option, because you asked me something and I gave an answer, but I have never heard about that again. Peter, finally, from Papa Alpha 3 Foxtrot Bravo X-ray, passing it on to you. Bye bye.
On 333s, apology to everybody for the 500 killer symbols. They caught me unawares, and I've been playing a bit earlier in the day and obviously not sorted it out. Okay, great stuff everybody. No replacement for displacement, I think you were saying there, Frank. That's the truth, isn't it? It's not like a V8 Hemi. Brother had a Chrysler Eagle, which were actually imported, made in South Africa, I think, and as well as other places. The 770 hardtop coupe with limited slip diff. What a thing that was! You could have fun with that. Just pull off quick from the junction, smoke both tyres, and just float along, bumping the curb. That was epic. Like you say, V8. I think what the guy with his diesel engines and his put. No. The true music comes from a V8. Maybe a V12, but a nice lazy V8 with pulling off with an auto box. That's a proper sound. That's a proper car. Anyway, there we are. All good. Yeah, I haven't emigrated, although I've thought about it. There, Mike. But definitely we've been having some good weather, though today it's overcast, but still very warm, 24 degrees. A little bit of light rain from time to time, but all good. Good to see Sorrow in there. Talking about good to see Sorrow from India. Good to see him there, and hopefully we'll see more of him. What else? Oh, I think I was thinking of Ed there. I think it was Ed, the last guy that was speaking. Sorry, hopeless. I think with a satellite, who knows where you are? I mean, if you say you're in Sweden or one of the other countries, you're transmitting, who's to know? Not that I'm sort of suggesting that you would do that, but it's a thought. Good to see Leon there, so I'm glad you made it. All's good. I was going to see how my audio is. I think whether he'll hear you again when you come on, but how's my audio, Leon? No. Because I am using that rack full of equipment behind me there, much to your horror, no doubt. Although not all of it is actually going through the system, although it all lights up and flashes. So there's a 3-band equalizer, a dynamic processor, as well as the opto compressor, and some other Behringer that I don't remember what it does, but the lights light up nicely, which is what I wanted from it, because there's a bit of a just blank spot there on the wall. Unlike Martin, my transmission system works well, the antenna's tuned, and the coax. I think when he was talking about it's maybe the length between the probe and the or your circulator and the amplifier. You don't want it to be a wavelength there. I think you need an odd wavelength on the leads. I think that's what he was saying. There, Martin. Maybe using proper cable and soldering on properly. You know what I mean? This is the thing. Doing a proper job initially, and or keeping your overshot so that it doesn't overheat. I don't, continuous duty. It's not what most of the gear is built for. Anyway, with that, I'll say afternoon to everybody, and thanks for bringing me in. I'm a little hurt you forgot me, Gary, I've got to say. I was just about ready to go there, and I know I'm guilty, and but I think that's a punishment too far. PQH, yeah, vMix. Forgot why I put that down there. Oh, your images. I'm not converted anyone to vMix yet, whereas vMix is a cracking program. Okay, you pay 60 quid for the basic version. Well, 60 quid these days, eh? And you get a much better, more usable thing with a proper display in a proper fashion, and you can use a keyboard and mix properly and everything else. And you've got SRT. And the other thing, the guy who wants, Benno, wasn't it? Benno. SRT. You can transmit SRT down the interweb by the mobile phone, or maybe NDI, but definitely SRT, and that will. And of course, vMix does SRT, and you can link to both anywhere, and then go up the satellite if you want to go up the satellite and you aren't able to get a signal in. To someone, maybe somebody in Wales would be happy to link via either NDI or give SRT a go. But just a thought if anybody wants to play it. From GW7BZY, back to the group.
Well, I think we're back. Maybe. I don't know. Let's make sure that we got a bit of sound before I continue on. Yep, let's mute that. We won't mention the sound sync, which always seems to be a problem with vMix. Yeah, I say no more. Why have all the processing if the sound's out of sync? But we'll leave it at that. To you there, Frank, G8PQH. For controlling things this end, I must admit, it depends whether I suppose you use, but I use the DATV Easy. Let's go to that one. And I use the one, it's going to be terribly small, isn't it? But that on there gives me the temperature, well, the guesstimated power, voltage, and the current. It says 10.74. So the current I'm drawing 27.78 volts. Temperature is 36.5. And the start and the PTT is all controlled from the DATV Easy, which I find really convenient for me. If we use the and select the main screen, let's make it a bit bigger. That's my control bodge up. So I've got the 4 relays, of which I'm only actually using the PTT one and the start one. So the start one initially does what it says, and the other analog inputs going on to the little setup there, sits on the network. I will admit to having a second setup which I can override things, particularly when I'm on the narrowband end. So I've also got this, which is a similar sort of setup, which I've just got 8 relays I can control. So I can click on and just switch. So I can switch the aerial that goes to my SDR, and this one I can put the power amp, the 28 volts to the power amp, or the PTT, but I don't need to do any of that because I'm using it from the ATV Easy program. So that's just a thought. That's the way I've done it. Looks a bodge, and yeah, my PA is just a cheap and cheerful PA. Why is the roll of a beer bottle? Yeah. So I was just thinking of bottles there, Gary, and a demonstration that was shown to me earlier of how to make use of a bottle. Started me laughing. What I was going to say, that was the control. Frank 2, ZS6GE, good pictures, actually good pictures, like the pumping station. Absolutely superb, and sorry to hear about the flooding as such. That's not good at all. Shame on that. These things, I can just imagine how you felt when you got back. And Benno, enjoy your holiday. I'm slightly jealous. I've never been around all those sort of areas. I don't think my capability of driving would be any good. I only once driven on the wrong side of the road, and it wasn't very well, particularly coming to roundabouts. I found that very, very difficult. But yeah, we survived. So what else was there to talk about? Leon, well, at least you made it, and I didn't talk about too much to do with Goodwood, etc. today, but you missed it all anyway. So we're safe. Yeah, fun on the angled connector on the Helix. Yeah, it probably would be a good idea. I think I've got one more connector that I could change it over to a straight one. I can see me changing it over and it being worse, but it's a long time since I've actually put a Helix connector on, but used to do loads of them on air repeaters that we had, and they weren't a problem in the old days, but you've got to have the right connector for the right cable. So I know I've got a connector. It will be unfortunately a second-hand one, but they are somewhat expensive new. I think that's probably about it, and yeah, stick with OBS. That's what I would say. OBS is free and very versatile, and right. So it must be over to Frank 1 on my list of things. I don't think you've and those Goodwood shots, absolutely superb. I've never been and seen it that close. The closest I've got used to go to the breakfast, Sunday breakfast net. But I only had a kit car at that time, and it used to go down in my Marlin Berlinetta, which was fun, but not quite got poo-pooed by a lot of people because it wasn't the real thing. But I enjoyed it. It's all I could afford. So my Mark III Cortina in disguise was great fun. Right, round to you there, Frank. I'll put a test card. And thanks to everybody. Thanks to you, Gary, for running the net. And Sarah, good to see you. Don't leave it too long before we see you again. I'll put a test card and disappear from G8KE.
Thank you, Martin. Hopefully, let's see if I've got some sound. Thank you, Martin. Hopefully, let's see. All right, that sounds like some some sound. Yes, I think there's you do get snobbishness in car clubs. I have in a very old TVR, which is one of the it's a V6, unfortunately, Peter, not a V8, and it's probably one of the most inoffensive and underpad TVRs compared to others, but I never pick up people telling me that I should have a bigger one in certainly in that car club. Well, I'm pleased that Gary liked the, the pictures of Goodwood, and then Peter was saying yes, there's no substitute for cubic inches. The if I think I can show my yes, this is the car that won it. Nope, that's not what we want. That one. Yes, a 1959 Ford Thunderbird. I think it had about 7 litres. So that's a lot of cubic inches. I don't know what that would be in cubic inches, Peter. Would it be 589 or 389, or you know, the American car engine sizes? Anyway, that's enough of that. So sorry to hear. Well, it was nice to hear ZS6GE Frank on. I don't think well, I know that I haven't heard you before. That was a beautiful picture of that hydraulic beam engine. It's not nice having plumbing problems. I'm sure something like that could have unblocked things, but it must have been a miserable experience. We had something similar last year here in the middle of redoing a kitchen, and we discovered we had all kinds of other problems that added to the delay, and we ended up cooking in the garden for a couple of weeks, which was interesting to say the least. Benno, I hope you have good holidays. Yes, 100 milliwatts. I don't think even, well, maybe certainly people use FT8 on QO-100 with 100 milliwatts and a 60 centimeter dish. You might even manage it without a dish on FT8, but not to everyone's taste, that's for sure. I have come across Node Red, by the way, Benno. I know something about it, not very much. I've seen some YouTube videos, and yes, clearly I have a Pi. I'm using well, I've got one here because I'm using the Ride receiver at the moment, and I could mount a Pi in the remote box, couldn't I? And it doesn't have any A to D on it, but I could use an A to D card or unit, couldn't I? And temperature sensors like the, I don't know, DBS 1820 or DS 1820B or whatever they are, they're I2C interfaces anyway, so they're just a one wire digital thing. But a voltage and current, I think you'd need A to D for that. I suppose you could use it for lots of other things as well. And Martin mentioned DATV Easy, and I'm using the free streamer, so I could use DATV Easy. I guess it would be very similar. Certainly I've seen also I think it's F6 AAM, the French station, you know, with the same I mean, this Arduino board and Ethernet shield is the same one that is used, I think you used there in your picture. It's absolutely identical, so I could use DATV Easy, or F6 AAM has another solution. I was thinking, rather than run a kind of web server on the Arduino, just to sort of send the results somewhere and then maybe log it, and then you could have a sort of temperature versus time graph, or record when the transmitter was on and when it was off. I think we are getting into probably doing things for the sake of doing it when you get to that far. But anyway, there you go. Oh, by the way, Gary, the Jag, yeah, the Mark 1 Jag couldn't catch that Ford Thunderbird the whole way round, and you know, I think not even on the corners. So there you have it. Mystery how such a heavy car could go around corners so fast. But anyway, there you go. Anyway, I think that's enough from me. It's great to see you on Saro VU2 OBR, and also you, Frank, ZS6GE. But thanks again for everyone. Very interesting net. I'll say 7 freeze to all, and wish you all a very good week. So let me I suppose I could put up a test card because I can work out when I've actually finished. So if I put up a test card and drop carrier and hand it over to Frank, ZS6 GE over there in South Africa.
Right. I won't keep it long. Was nice to see you guys again. Hello, Leon. And yeah, Martin, I agree. Years ago, when I experienced the first time roundabout the other way around, that was scary. These days it doesn't matter, left or right. I got used to it to both ways. The only thing where I'm a bit struggling is these concentric roundabouts where you have 2 or 3 lanes in a circle. They are hairy, to put it mildly. I don't like them at all. Sometimes I go around once or twice until I'm in the right lane. Anyway, that's that. I wish you all a nice day, evening, what's left of it of the weekend, and 73. And Saro, you take it.
Yeah. Greetings from India again, my friends. Thank you very much letting me in again. So I have a story today. I did a great job, I think. Middle of 2019, I got it my CMU 200 for my R&D purpose. From that time, it is only for basic things I am used. With that, it is only spectrum analyzer and signal generator I worked. That is got it on that time 3.01 something version. So after that, nowadays I have some thing to do on the CMU 200. Today morning I did some work. Before that, I made all the software and hardware activations with Python code generated by me. For that, I studied a lot to make activation codes, and finally I got activated all the cards. And today morning I made it with the SSD hard drive from ordinary PATA hard drive to SSD because the aging. So that hard disk is working fine, but I don't know how many days will be work more because it is very old. Just I show you some videos regarding that. You can also enjoy, guys. So this is the CMU 200 after update the SSD. Just I made a startup video for it, and I don't find any faster than it's a hard disk. It's a normal, like a hard disk, only the booting time will taken because the firmware is very smaller on the CMU 200. That internal hard drive is around only 2 GB they are used. for the entire OS. So what I made, I purchased the SSD with 64 GB. Then I made a partition on only 2 GB and made a disk copy from the HDD to SSD. This is the first power on with the SSD. So just I made a video. You can watch. It will take some time to boot. It is all made, all the CMU 200 like this only. That SSD will not make any faster booting because the card loading and software loading will take time. So now everything I activated. That the important thing, I activated all the features. What are the hardwares available on the CMU 200? That is the important part. That activation keys I made myself and activated. This will be very, very, very great equipment, test equipment. This will has lot of options to do. In the amateur radio purpose also we can do something with this. Luckily I got it, the Bluetooth module inside and FM module, everything. I got activated all. So this is the simple video I made for the demo purpose. So that's all guys from my side. Sorry. So thank you very much for the opportunity to join with you guys again. Thank you Bino and Frank and Martin, Leon, Bino and other Frank also. So Peter, Gary and everyone. So I'll join with you on next week with the new things from me. So 73 is all of you. Greetings all of you from India. 28 degrees Charlie, 59% humidity right now on my shack. So 73 is bye bye. Go ahead Gary, you can close the net. Thank you once again. Thank you once again.
Okay, Saru. Yes, it's really nice to see you again after a long absence. You must stop making money and come back on the ham band. There is some low frequency noise on your audio. I think maybe you have a fan blowing across your microphone or something. It's like really thundery, low frequency stuff. It's either that or you have a bad coupling capacitor somewhere, but more likely it's so hot there at your place. It's cold here. It's gone back to winter. It's raining and it's probably about 15 degrees or so outside. I didn't measure it, but anyway, but nice signal from you otherwise, Saru, and I'm very, very happy to see you on the satellite again. Frank, ZS6 Golf Echo. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to comment on your pump station video. That is fantastic. That is a huge machine. My goodness. I have a little Stirling engine here that I run from time to time. But that thing is quite something. It's really, that was very nice video. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. The other Frank, G8PQH. With the old cars, yes. I don't know if the Thunderbird ever had a 7-liter, maybe a 6.5, which would be 390 cubic inches. 427 is 7 liters. I had a Galaxy LTD. That was my first car, Galaxy LTD, with a 390. It was a nice car. I wish I had that today, but I wouldn't be able to afford the petrol for it. But yes, it's always nice to see the old cars. My dad was a vintage car collector and restorer and so on. That was his hobby. So yeah. his favorite was his 36 Ford, the Phaeton, 1936 V8 flat top. I see it's now being sold again. The guy who bought it from my dad when my dad got too old to manage all his old cars, he bought it from my dad, and I see it's just been advertised for 400,000 rand. But yeah, I don't have the patience or the space for that. My space is all taken up by power transformers and all sorts of other things. I don't have space for too many cars. Okay, but that was very nice. Martin JKOE. Yeah, no no problem. I was following some of the stuff that you were talking about there. And Benno, enjoy your holidays. Yes, of course, you guys, I mean, you won't drive as far as I am from Gary. If I had to drive that far in Europe, I'll fall off into the ocean, I think. So Europe is relatively small. So you just a hop and a skip and you're in another country, and yeah, so you can go all over the place. And was it Frank or somebody said just go next to the border and turn up the power. Peter, your audio is fine, except that I think maybe you have some compression on there because you have an enormous amount of fan noise, which I've never heard before on your audio. So either you have today a very loud fan running there, or you are using some compression, but the frequency response is nice. Otherwise your audio is nice, but you have background noise which is very prominent now, which wasn't there before. Okay, Gary, in the meantime, I got a message from Uhan that he is safely back at home, and I told him he must solder carefully. And then we'll maybe see him a little later on the satellite today, hopefully. So, over to you. ZS6 Yankee India for the group. ZS1MM saying cheerio, but still watching, listening, and keeping an eye out for ZS1 SCI when he gets the whole lot going there. Take it, Gary. ZS1MM standing by.
Okay, I gave a little break in case Uwan wanted to come up, but very, very good indeed there. Well, it's been an, oops, what's going on here? It's been a very good net today. Thank you to all stations that participated. Really appreciate it. A great surprise to see Sorrow, and we'll hopefully see you more often, Sorrow, please, and get our other Indian friends to come up as well. Another guy we're missing is V. I wonder where he is. He comes on the WhatsApp group from time to time, but we haven't seen him either, and we miss him too. It's strange not to see Ed today, but I think he was on yesterday, so he must be busy with something else. Frank, yeah, my dad always used to say there's no substitute for cubic inches, and I still have his 1966 Ford LTD Galaxy, and that was a 390 cubic inch, which was a 7 litre, exactly 7 litre. My Phantom is a 5.3 litre V12. And then I've got the Jag XKR with a double supercharger. Very nice vehicle. Goes like the clappers. I had a Jag V12, which was also good. And I had a Daimler 66. The Daimler I gave to a friend of mine as a gift. And he promptly took out the engine and put some V8 American thing in it. I could kill him, because that V12 Daimler was something out of this world. It was a 5.3 litre 66, Daimler 66, and I just didn't have enough parking space for the stuff, so he always asked me if I ever want to sell it, so I gave it to him, and then he on-sold it after putting a V8 in. How dumb. He's also a ham, ZD6 Bravo Golf. He knows I've criticized him a lot. Incidentally, we've had 97 viewers today. How's that, eh? On YouTube, 97. And that's a good record for us. We haven't had that. It's almost doubled the previous record. So fantastic. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to say 7-3 to all on frequency. We'll now open the frequency to general use. And we hopefully see each other next week. And cheers to all that's been watching on YouTube and, of course, direct on the channel. There are many, many stations watching. I know that for a fact. I hear that during the week. Oh, I saw you guys and I saw you guys. A lot of stations from Germany. I'd love for more of them to come and join us. And all over, the French stations as well. But Christian sometimes watches, so there we go. With that, this is ZS6YI bidding everyone on frequency a happy week and opening the frequency to general use. 7-3 all.
Yeah, Gary, just before I forget, when Uan left, he also took with him my SDR play, the SDR radio. He says that's what he needs to make sure that the software that he's writing for the Spectrum display will work on that particular receiver. So he's got that with him now. And I'm so happy about that maybe one day I'll have my freestanding Spectrum display for QO-100. Okay, I'm standing by.
Okay, oh, this power is too high. Okay, this power just turn it down. You see when there aren't other stations on, then the AGC on the satellite comes up. Okay, Leon, that's excellent. Yeah, very good. Look, Uan's very good. He's a bit of a wizard with these things. And so is, of course, Tom. By the way, if you're listening, Benno, Tom's all well, but the man's under a lot of pressure, a lot of work. He's also been on a holiday to the Makarakari salt pans in Botswana. And he came back. And, man, he's been very, very busy. But I'm sure he'll be on soon. We miss the guy, of course. And, by the way, we are 100 views. How's that? Yeah, that's a nice 100 views. I'm logging this. Fantastic. Hey, that's nice to see that the YouTube channel's also taking a bit of interest amongst guys. And we have Saros on. Hello, Fabiano Moser, coming soon on the air. We look forward to seeing you, Fabiano. And he is, Charlie Tango 7 Alpha Bravo Delta. Charlie Tango 7 Alpha Bravo Delta. Wonderful. And we certainly wish you'd come on from Portugal. We do see a few Portuguese stations from time to time. It's very good. So we want to make this the true worldwide net. At the moment, it's restricted. It will improve. 7-3 to all. The net is open to general use. ZS6YI going off. And getting something to swallow. It's a dry throat at this moment. 7-3, Leon. Ons praat later, maar geef my WhatsApp as die ou op die lig is, hoor. Sal graag wil toets. Cheers, guys.
So how was it on? Empty bench.
To be able to transmit, Mike, you can just come and say hi, and we'll appreciate that. Okay, I'll be hanging in here for a little while in case Uan comes on. A G0MJW for the group, ZS1 Mike in a cold Worcester.
I've got a picture. That's the question.